Hi everyone, welcome back to Football-Oranje, your home of Dutch football. And the Netherlands have just beaten Iceland 4-0. Another great friendly win. Another 4-0 win after the one against Canada. And I'm Mark Statham, Abdul's here, Mike's here. Here's to talk about the game and, of course, the breaking news that Frenkie de Jong may well miss Euro 2024. But first of all, guys, I know that de Jong news is kind of fresh in our minds, and maybe people in the comments as well. Do drop us a live comment what you thought of the game, de Jong's injury. If you're not watching live, drop us a comment down below. We'll get back to you. But what do you think of the game tonight? I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a easy enough day at the office. And once the first goal went in, it was very comfortable.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a lot easier than the Canada game in the first half anyway. I think that they stepped it up. I thought by half-time it could easily have been 2-3-0. The chances came, quite a lot of them missed, mostly by Memphis up front, but he was getting the chances, he was creating a lot. And I think Veerman ran the show from midfield. I think he was excellent in the first half especially. And we can all say we're all happy for Xavi Simons to finally get that monkey off his back and score that first goal for the Netherlands. But whether he actually performed well, that's another question. But yeah, at least he scored his first goal.
Yeah, it was an amazing match, really. Winning 4-0 both matches from teams that I know they're not really easy teams. We've seen Canada in the World Cup. They gave France a hard time. Iceland defeated England. I was expecting a much stronger match, but in both matches, actually, we played well. Today, we completely dominated the match. It should have been 4-0 from the first half, actually, with all due respect to Iceland. The substitutions were amazing. So many things to say about the individuals. And of course, I'm also kind of worried about Frenkie and Coop Miners. They are very important players.
Yeah, I enjoyed this evening. I thought lots of brilliant individual performances. It was like it was all coming nicely in time for the Euros. Of course, we were then struck by the news of Frenkie de Jong's injury. Being reported by our day that he's going to miss the whole tournament now. His ankle's unstable. He won't be fit for all the games. And I know you two are going to give us that you're feeling sad about it, and I think lots of people are as well. I want you to be the first one to try and say, I'm not down in the dumps about it. I don't think it's awful news. It's not good. Like, he is a key player for the Netherlands, and I've been quoted several times by saying the Netherlands' hopes often rely upon Frenkie de Jong with how much he can bring in midfield. But I've seen, and I know it's Canada and Iceland, but I've seen enough from those two games to say, I think we'll be all right without him. But I know those are the kind of games where you don't really need Frenkie quite as much. I understand that. But yeah, I'm not feeling too down about it. Maybe that was just good timing from Onzadanya or whatever, whoever's released that news. It was good timing to release that after a 4-0 win, a second 4-0 win in the week, than say before it or before the game against Poland to say that. Yeah, guys, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's official now. Yeah, Onzadanya, I've actually tweeted out saying that he's definitely out of the tournament. So it's not just like newspapers at the moment. It's done. For me, I think that it is a big blow. I think it's a blow for the games that will come later in the tournament because as well as Veerman played tonight, as well as Kumanus can play, are they as press resistant as Frenkie de Jong is? I don't think they are. I don't think if players get in the face of Joey Veerman, does he play as well as he did tonight? He got a lot of space to dictate that midfield. I don't think you get that if you play against France, you play against England, you play against some of the bigger nations in the tournament. And I think that's when Frenkie de Jong would have came into his own. I think he would have offered something different, and that top class ability that he brings to the team. We need to see if somebody can step up, because if Ronald Koeman decides that, for instance, Wijnaldum's the man to replace him, then the midfield's a million times worse. If it's Veerman, if it's Koop Miners, that's okay. But it depends on who Koeman sees as being the main man in that midfield, whether it's the three we saw tonight. I think that if I was choosing, I think I'd go with the three tonight against Poland if Koop Miners isn't fit. And I need to hope that Koeman shares that opinion, because if Wijnaldum comes into that side, then it's going to be a struggle, I think.
Yeah, well, okay, Frankie is the most important player in the midfield, in my opinion. In the previous Euro, we missed Van Dijk, although we had good defenders also, but he was the leader of the defense. I think Frankie is the leader of the midfield, you know. We do have some good names to replace him, but I still think we will miss him, especially in tough matches. When we play France, and hopefully when we qualify and play stronger opponents. But hopefully, I really hope the players we have now at our disposal can do the job. You know, we have some good names: Schouten, Veerman, Reinders. Hopefully, Koop Miners will be fit to play because we still don't know anything about his injury. Van der Vaart said, you know, he can be out for 10 days, or it could be worse. But I'm not really sure about this. That's what Van der Vaart said.
Sounds like Quentin Timber's got to be called up now, doesn't it? But Abdul, you saying just before we started, like you can't think of anybody else that may well be called up for the midfield. De Vrome was ruled out already through injury. And I suggested that maybe Danny Blint is that extra midfielder and Koeman might call an extra defender up.
Is it not too late? I thought it was too late to call any replacements
You're
by
still
now.
not, even though it's in your squads with friendlies.
I thought that it had to be done by now, and that was it. As soon as the squad numbers got released, that's your squad. I might be wrong on that, but I've not seen anything to suggest that the Netherlands can actually call up a replacement.
Yeah, it makes sense for the 26 you're allowed to choose now. Maybe someone in the comments can let us know. But yeah, it's not good news. And I do think, though, that Veerman's had a great season next to Jordi Schouten, who's proven himself in the European stage this season. So there are people that can put in a good effort in midfield. And I've still not watched Ten Koop Miners in a while. And a lot of people are full of praise for him. Yeah. Do you think we'll be okay? Do you think we'll be okay? Or do you think we're going to struggle?
Well, Koop Miners and Frankie, they do have the experience in the midfield. I mean, with all the names we have now in the midfield, none of them is experienced enough for the international football. You know, that's what worries me the most. Actually, Koop Miners was a big star with Atalanta. He played a very important role for the team to win the European competition. Timber is good also, but again, we're talking about experience here. We don't have any midfielder with experience unless Blind takes that place, as you said, Michael. Maybe that will bring some experience to the midfield.
We do have one experienced midfielder, but he's the one that none of us want to see in the midfield, and that's Wijnaldum. So he does have the option of dropping him deeper, like he played at Liverpool. But I don't think any of us want that. We'll just manifest that he's not even in the squad.
Yep.
Let's bring in some of these live comments, and it's good to talk about some of the other areas of the pitch this evening. Really enjoyed the game. I thought it was great. I didn't watch the one against Canada, but the one this evening, I certainly thought was some good football. And we haven't mentioned it yet on this show, but I think people will realise that, of course, the Netherlands beat Canada 4-0. France couldn't beat Canada. The fact that England lost to Iceland, Netherlands beaten 4-0, and they are friendlies. I know that like just like twice in some situations, an early goal does help. But there was some good football tonight, and France and England haven't been able to quite achieve that. I thought the England lost to Iceland was boring. Let's bring in some comments, like I said. So people obviously commenting about Frenkie de Jong, bad news that it is. But then we've had some comments such as this. So Veerman's progressive passes, loving it. Yeah, I thought that some of his passes over the top, it was clearly a strategy that Koeman must have got him to start doing, to play a ball over the top. And often it was Dumfries that would play the ball back across. A little similar to how Frank de Boer was able to do it with Dumfries in the last Euros, using that overlap quite a lot. It was beautiful as well. I can finally see how Koeman's imagining it by playing Dumfries at right back, but getting the best out of him as a wing back, having the other three in that defence will make that trio. And Gakpo was almost playing symmetrical to Dumfries in the way that he was slightly pulling deeper, Dumfries just slightly further up. I also said to Abdul before we went live that I don't think Dumfries and Frimpong will play in the same team together unless there's other injuries and Frimpong maybe plays on the left side. But I think Frimpong in front of Dumfries will happen. They both occupy the same space. But I think if you've got Dumfries in the pitch, he's your first choice. Does Frimpong play if Netherlands had been more reserved, perhaps, and he's on the right wing, Trout is behind him, as has now been practiced in both of these matches. Or is Dumfries the first option with Simons ahead of him, who will more like to come inside, so Dumfries can stay on the right side. But yeah, Veerman tonight was great. Some nice passes, and one of his better performances in the Netherlands shirt must be. I can't think of a better one where he stood out so much. And he will be the answer now, of course, with Frenkie's injury.
Yeah, I think that of other players tonight, I think Veerman stepped up because we knew what Dumfries offers, and Dumfries always in the Netherlands shirt. He's always a battering ram. But yeah, I think Veerman really stood out. His balls over the top. I think it's been a real weapon, even against Canada. Wait on when you've got players like Malen coming on, offer speed in behind. If you've got somebody like Veerman who can just chip the ball over the top, then it's a massive weapon to have that pace up front that can just get in behind constantly. So I think that's going to be a tactic for the Netherlands in these games of Euros. You know, you get 70, 80 minutes, and you bring on Malen, and then you look over the top for him to race in behind. You've got players like Frimpong as well who can run in behind. I think Koeman will look to do that, and I think when you've got somebody like Veerman who can pick out a pass, then it looks good for those cross ball field getting in behind defenses. You kind of hope that Veerman is the sort of player that can unlock a defense. So even against Poland, if Poland sit back, sit deep, you've got somebody like Veerman who can pick a hole, which is what you need.
Yeah, and he's trying to show, isn't he, that he can take this level, that this is where he belongs, and it's not just in the Eredivisie, even with PSV, playing with Champions League this season, and now being able to do this for Netherlands and stand out. It's great.
And he's been linked with Real Madrid from Dutch press as well. So, you know, who knows if he's that level, but it's nice to see people getting a bit carried away and saying he's as good as Toni Kroos.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at all the options we have, the back line, the midfield, the front line. I still cannot cannot get the best lineup out of it, really, because we have so many stars everywhere, despite the injury of Frenkie and hopefully not Koop Miners, but let's say Koop Miners will be missing too. We do have so many good names. I still cannot, come up with the best lineup. I really hope Koeman can do that before the match against Poland.
Some breaking news from Ronald Koeman's press conference. He has bad feelings about the injury of Koop Miners. He thinks that we'll have to do without him for Poland. And he confirms that he will not call up Quinton Timber.
So he can't, or he just doesn't want to?
He just said he won't.
Huh.
He's not fit, so he won't pick him because he's not fit. That must mean that he has the option to pick up somebody. So we'll see that in the next couple of days. If he does decide to go Ian Maatsen, for instance, and then has the option of Daley Blind coming in as an extra midfielder. So yeah, we need to see in its coming hours, coming days, to see if anybody, even Calvin Stengs, is he away on holiday somewhere? He's not in the midfield or somebody else that you can drop in there.
Okay, let's bring in some more comments. We'll get further down, shall we? So someone said, positive to hear, 2 friendlies, 8 goals, 0 against. What great preparation. Daniel thought it was a great performance. He's got a good feeling ahead of the Euros. We're getting into that territory, aren't we, where we start to get those good vibes. Someone did ask, of course, who we call up in De Jong's place. Hope we've answered that question now, even if we can. Yeah, of course, there are some bits someone said about players out injured. So even all the alternatives, they're not fit, they're not ready. Okay, let's talk about Xavi Simons then. So what was he doing on the pitch? Frimpong to start instead of Simons. Okay, different players in different positions, but I suppose Simons was on the right this evening. I think of answer why I don't think Frimpong and Dumfries should both play at the same time. But what did you both make of his performance tonight? I think that goal is important for him, but I don't think it immediately made his performance better this evening. And I was a bit surprised by that, actually. I thought that goal would make a world of difference, and I don't really see much, really. He was quite quiet.
Yeah, I was expecting to see much of him after the first goal. I was really relieved when he scored his first goal, But after that, he literally disappeared. I did not see anything of him. So maybe it's not the right time for him to start, for the Euros, because we do have much better names that already proved themselves in the team. Gakpo, Memphis, of course, Frimpong, even Broby and Malen. They did prove themselves in the previous matches. Although Broby did not score, but he was very dangerous. So I think Simons come after them.
Yeah, I think that before the game, the main things I would see was Simons scoring, which he did. But I also wanted to see him put in a good performance, and sadly, I don't think he did. I think that when you see what Frimpong did against Canada and what he can do on the right wing, and then you've got Simons tonight, I think he struggled. But I think it's because I just don't think he knows what his best position is in the Netherlands national team yet. I don't think we've found that area of the pitch where he can occupy. At the moment, he just looks like he's getting bullied off the ball all the time. He's not really got a connection with anyone on the field yet. That you see, even already, Memphis and Frimpong seem to have some sort of excellent connection that they have, that you can just find each other at will, even though they've only played for a couple of weeks. It seems instant. And they've got a celebration to celebrate from both being, Guinea's roots. So yeah, I think that looks promising, whereas Simons on the pitch in Memphis doesn't yet. And whether that will come in time or whether that's just not going to happen on the right wing, we'll wait to see. But I think if Koeman's sensible against Poland, he'll go with Frimpong, because he looks a lot more dangerous going forward.
Yeah, Frimpong's like really good.
We need to speak of that goal that was disallowed. The pass he made was amazing, really. Yeah. It had a taste to it, somehow.
I mean, why is there VAR in friendlies? Come on, you're ruining the game. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't really a handball, it was elbow, so it's fine.
And you could say the Poland, not the Poland, that's next week. You could say the Icelandic player gave maybe a little shove in the back, put his arm towards it, but
yeah. I also need to mention Weghorst. I mean, he proves himself again and again that he is really good when he comes in as a sub. Every time he comes in, he makes the difference. He scored against Ireland when he came in as a sub, and he scored in the previous 2 matches when he came in as a sub. So I hope Koeman doesn't start with him. I don't think he will, because we do have much better names, in the front line. But again, I'm really concerned about the midfield. I hope he doesn't start with Wijnaldum. He will not do any good for the team, really.
As is Michael here in the comments, says the game is great. Dutch play well, but Frankie's is all I can think about now, however.
Yeah, exactly.
Just on Koeman again, he has said that he will call in a replacement, so he is going to bring in someone. We just don't know who yet. On Weghorst, again, it proves Koeman right, because I think after the Canada game, he gave a bit of a frosty interview where he said that he shouldn't be a substitute, and he's been told that he will be. And he sort of gave a sort of cheeky interview where he was basically saying that he should be ahead of Brian Broby in the pecking order. He's been told he's got to be a sub at the tournament, and he doesn't really think that's right. But when he comes on and does this, then it's just proven Koeman right. He brings energy on the final 10 minutes of a game. He did it at the World Cup. He came on and changed the game against Argentina. He's an impact sub. And if he joins Ajax, he's going to be an impact sub because he's not going to get ahead of Brian Broby. So I think he just needs to realize at this stage in his career, that's what he's best at. And if he wants to be a hero for the Netherlands, he can be. But just in the last 20 minutes of the game where he comes on and he's so effective at just putting himself about, I think he is a big weapon for Netherlands off the bench. Even though we could all moan about his form or moan about, his ability, but he's not going to start games. So having him as an option for 10, 15 minutes at the end is a big weapon, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And John said about Scouten looking very mature and capable this evening. We've had some people asking again who could he call up? Who could he call up? But like I said, I don't think. No, here we go. We've got capital letters now, which is very important. Who's going to come in and replace those two if they are both injured? And are we going to go for a different position? And like I've theorised, maybe Blind is the extra midfielder.
Schouten also can perform well. I mean, we've seen him in the Champions League playing in a very high level, and he performed very well. So I think it's going to be Schouten, Reinders, but I'm not sure about the third one, if it's going to be Veerman. Most likely it's going to be Veerman, actually, because he also proved himself. But again, will Koeman call up any other players? I don't know. Although he said he was not going to call anyone, but he will be -2 players now, and they are both midfielders. So I'm not sure if that's going to be okay with us.
Okay.
I think the problem with Xerxes as well is he's not fit. So Koeman's made the point that he's only going to call in players that are 100% fit. So anyone that's going to come in, it's going to be somebody that was probably on the fringes, wasn't even in the provisional squad maybe, whether that's Calvin Stengs, whether he looks elsewhere, God forbid, even like Kenneth Taylor. The options are limited because I think that the best midfielders were chosen. If Timber was fit, he should have been there, but he wasn't. Darun's not fit, so he can't be there. So it does leave, someone's saying they're Gus Till. I mean, they're different types of players. Berghaus as well, no.
Not Berghaus.
Not Berghaus, thank you.
They're different types of players in what you're losing with Frenkie de Jong. So it's going to be interesting. It gives us something to think about for the next couple of days. It'll probably be the next 24 hours that you'll get called in. And it could be an option from left field. It could be somebody who's completely out of the blue.
Goodness.
But
about that one.
Jeez.
Definitely not Klaassen. I was suggesting to Michael that, Stein maybe he could be an option. He performed very well with Twente. Not a starter, of course, but as a sub,
I'm waiting for someone in the comments to say.
That's another name.
I'm waiting for someone in the comments to say Kevin Strootman, just to make it even worse. But
I did think this is pretty close, Ryan Bach.
Yeah.
Yeah, scraping the barrel. How far down the Eredivisie can we go till we find a decent Dutch centre midfielder? There's a question here, and I did want to ask you guys this evening. We talked about the tournament as a whole. We did a group preview, but I haven't had you both, especially Abdul, like in a room, so in this chat room here right now, to say how far the Netherlands going to go in the Euros. And the question actually is this: what are the chances of winning the tournament out of 10? Starting Dawson's feeling 10 out of 10.
Wow. Thank you, Dawson. I appreciate that. Well, it depends on the road to the final. It depends on who we are going to face, the two matches against Poland and Austria, if we play the same way we played against Canada and Iceland, I think we will be fine. France is not really impossible to defeat. Okay, we do have a less chance to win, but it's not impossible to get a good result. It's all about who we're going to face in the round of 16, most likely in the quarterfinal. Facing teams like Portugal, for example, might be a bigger problem because we always struggle against Portugal. We have a very bad history with them. So, but of course, we could win this time. We could go very far, and I'm really optimistic of going very far this tournament. I've seen Koeman learned a lot from the previous mistakes he made in the qualifiers. The players, the vibes and the players, the spirit is very high. And I think they mentioned that themselves, So we can go very far. You don't really have to be the best team to win the Euro. It happened before. Yeah. Greece won it, and they were not even close to be the best team. So maybe we can also do it this time. I'm sure Holland now is much stronger than Greece 2004, So hopefully we can go far in this tournament. Win, why not? It's not really impossible.
Yeah, I'm a bit more optimistic now than I was on the previous show before these two friendlies. But I think the game against Poland, it's just, I keep saying it, the game against Poland is so important. You need to get off to a winning start. It's the sort of team that Netherlands needs to beat. And even, we won't go into Poland too much, but I don't know if you saw that Lewandowski came off injured for them today. I think they beat Turkey, maybe 2-1.
Milik is injured as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if that happens, then you're looking at it and you're going, oh, come on, this is a game that Netherlands need to win. If you win it comfortably, 2-3-0, then that sets you up as even being, if everything else goes wrong, you're probably still going to end up as being one of the best place teams going through the group stage. So once we get through that first opening game, We don't want another Denmark from 2012. We don't want, these slip-ups. If we get through that first game, then I can see us going far. But that Poland one for me is just so important. You talk about Portugal. Portugal have their own problems. They've got a coach that hasn't really set his identity. He's still question marks over whether or not he's going to start with Cristiano Ronaldo, and if he does, then does that harm them more than it helps them? Pepe's still in defence at 41. They've got problems. You look at France, drawing with Canada. If anything happened to Mbappe, they've got problems. Defensively, they're not looking too solid. Even Canada caused them a lot of problems. You got England, the Southgate factor of them. And you look at else. Spain's got a really young team. Italy's got an inexperienced team. They're not as strong as when they won it. Who else is there? Belgium. Belgium aren't as strong as they are. Probably the last chance for their golden generation. So you look around Germany. This isn't the strongest Germany ever had. They're hosting it, but the pressure could get to them. So who's to say that the Netherlands can't win this? And there's no nation that's going into the tournament on the back of 2 friendlies like the Netherlands are. 2 4-0 wins. No other top nation can say that. So it's looking good now, but let's just get that first game out of the way, win it, and then we can start talking about, reaching semi-finals, finals, maybe possibly winning it.
Yeah, it's all about the first game. It depends how we're going to perform, but I just hope we don't really play the best level we have from the first match. This proved to be wrong, in many occasions before.
Gotta pace yourself.
I don't want what happened in 2008 to happen again. We started very strong, we destroyed every team, and then suddenly we were out against Russia. So we need to start quietly, and I'm glad that Holland is not really the favorite to win the tournament. This is going to keep the pressure away from the team also.
Yeah, nobody's talking about Netherlands. Like in the UK where we are, like I don't know if you listened to any previews or anything like that, but nobody's talking about Netherlands. They don't even get mentioned in half of them.
Often we're the ones that will be the flops.
Yeah. So nobody's looking at this Netherlands team as being anything other than possibly a disaster. So that's good. Underestimate the Netherlands. Do it. This is a team that went unbeaten in Qatar, only got knocked out by Argentina on a game that I think all 3 of us would say was dodgy, to say another word. The refereeing decisions during that game. Messi should have been sent off in our penalty shootout. The last Euros, if De Ligt didn't get sent off, totally different game against Czech Republic. Who knows what happened after that? So you need a bit of luck to go your way. But if Netherlands get lucky this time, it's back on Germany soil. So let's try and hope the luck's there.
Yeah, Michael, Mike, sorry. Someone mentioned bringing the Timber from Arsenal, that could be an idea actually, because maybe he's ready now as a sub again,
Do you think?
Well, maybe he played some friendlies, right? He played some games for Arsenal, and I think he played in the last 20 minutes for Arsenal in the last match of the season. But I kind of laughed when I read for somebody saying, bring Classy. I mean,
I did enjoy some of these comments as well. Yeah, Classy's interesting. Do you want a Classy?
No,
it's like an echo chamber. Everyone's agreeing now. No. We had proper from NAC Nijmegen. We had Orlando Engelo. I think what's the most random Eredivisie player you can name for the last 15 years? It probably would be Orlando Engelo.
I think it's the only time you'll see Frenkie de Jong and Dirk Proper named in the same sentence as being like on a par.
Yeah. But
I might share what I think, by the way. Can I just get, by the way, before we start to wrap up the show, Michael asked where there'll be another live video. Well, it will be a live video before the Poland game. There'll be a preview before the Poland game. So it'll be on Friday. So the way we're going to do it throughout the Euros is we'll have a preview game for every game and a post-match reaction to every game. So kind of be like a show every 2 or 3 days for everyone, which is a lot of Netherlands content, but we know you all want it because it's the Euros. So we'll no doubt do that. I just want to get everyone in the comments right now, live comments, and even if you're not watching live, just drop in where are the Netherlands going to get to in this tournament? What is your prediction? Type it. Go. And in the meantime, I'm just going to share how I think. So I do think the Netherlands have got enough to definitely get past the groups. I think second place is pretty much certain if they've got enough to get past Poland, enough past Austria. France might just be that big challenge right now. We don't have to put our 100% into that to, get a draw, go to extra time, that kind of thing, because it's not time for it. But I do think later on, quarterfinals, got to get past maybe a Ukraine in the last 16, again, doable. Portugal, is that a test that they can then get past? But then once you're playing like a Germany, France, or an England, who are one of the favourites, that's where you're really struggling. And I think you're doing that a bit of luck, like a penalty or VAR decision or a red card, and it just changes things in your favour because really they have the better team, don't they? And it's up to the Netherlands then to stand strong, use their brilliant defence that they've got to see them through games and to try and pinch a goal. And in football, we all know that's possible, that can happen. It don't have to happen for 5 games in a row. It'll be a semi-final and a final. So in terms of rating, out of 10, don't know, like 6, 7, but isn't that quite a realistic number?
I would say 8.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll be about a 7. Yeah, I think the defense defense is the most promising thing. And what we can say is that we've won these 2 games playing 4-3-3, and we've not reverted back to 5-3-2 yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does that if we do come up against France, if he sticks with this formation or he does go back to playing with wing backs, because that's going to could be a strength later on in the tournament if they are coming against these top nations, having Frimpong or Dumfries bombing forward as a wing back.
In the comments, meanwhile, people have been saying things such as we've got champions, getting to the final, semi-final, semis, final, semi-final, champion, semi-final, lots of positivity. We can win. Oh, round of 16, boo. Quarter-final. What else we got? Yeah, defence will get Netherlands far, that's right. Defence wins tournaments. Rashad Liverpool instead of Frenkie. What do I think? God. He used to love that guy, He was like player of the year one year, wasn't he? Like in that league.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, he's a good option, isn't he? Like at one point, way back.
I do have a question for you guys. I wonder who's going to be the left back. Is it Ake or Van de Ven? Who do you think is going to be a starter? Ake?
Yeah.
That's just experience and just clout at this point. This how many options we've got. It's an insane number, isn't it? But I think if 1 or 2 options became unavailable at centre back, Ake's in there and Van de Ven's at left back.
Okay, as a central defenders, Van Dijk and who? De Ligt maybe, or
that's tricky. I don't know. What do you two think? It's gonna be Van Dijk, and I think it's De Vrij at the minute.
No, yeah, I think it's De Ligt, actually. Yeah,
I was gonna say I think he played his first choice defense tonight. I think that 4 is the 4 you'd go with, and if he's got to play 4-3-3, I think that you would go with that. And I think that with Dumfries, I don't think even though he says he can, I don't think he would play him and Frimpong in the same team. I think that if you saw Frimpong coming off the bench, you'd see Gertrude as well. I think that's the duo. You need to have Gertrude sitting back so Frimpong can bomb forward. I don't think he wants a situation where Dumfries and Frimpong are both way high up the right side of the pitch, getting in each other's way and leaving big gaps in behind. So, yeah, I think that Dumfries and Gertrude, I think that they're battling for the right back spot. And I think it's very close at the moment because I think Gertrude has brought something that I didn't think he would. I think that against Canada, I think that in the transition he was very good. Even pre-assists and passes into Frimpong was really good from him. So I think that it's a close battle to actually who plays right back starting in the tournament.
I think we all agree about the goalkeeper, right? Definitely, it's going to be Verbruggen.
Yeah, and I don't think the goalkeeper is going to be a busy man, to be honest, at the tournament. I think if teams get goals, it might be one or 2 goals to beat the Netherlands. I don't think he's going to have lots to save. He's got a brilliant defense in front of him.
Yeah, and the midfield, I think it's pretty much decided from what I can think of right now. Veerman, Schouten, and Reinders. Unless the Koeman decides to let the blend the player. But the 3 I mentioned, I think they will be starters. Who's going to be who's going to be up front, or the left wing and the right wing? Malin, the left wing, or Gakpo?
I think the front this evening, it just felt like this is the 11 that will start the game against Poland. But Xavi Simons, like, is his goal now enough to keep him in the team? Frimpong won't play with Dumfries, so I think that is it.
So you think Simon is going to start instead of Frimpong? Mike, what do you think?
I think he is, but it's not what I would go with. I think that against Poland, you'll either see Simons or you'll see Malin. I think that Dumfries will start because I think Koeman likes Ake being left back and Dumfries bombing forward. And you saw I know you missed the Canada game, Michael, but tonight's tactics was very different. You know, it was always crosses into the box, try and whip it forward so that Dumfries could head it on. There was none of that against Canada. It was all on the floor, looking to get in behind, racing into long balls. So, yeah, I think that the tactics we saw tonight with Dumfries getting forward and getting on headers is what Koeman's going to want to see against a physical side like Poland. And so, yeah, I think the right wing will be Malin or it'll be Simons. Probably Malin, given the fact that Simons is not there at the moment.
So it's going to be... Sorry, Michael. So it's going to be 4-3-3. Thank you. It's going to be 4-3-3 against Poland, 4-3-3 against Austria, and maybe 5-3-2 against France. Do you guys think this is what's going to happen?
No, I think it would be a 4-3-3, but he might go with like a Heertrauter and Frimpong. So it kind of is like a 5. Maybe.
Yeah, I could see that. You know, settling back. If we're looking to soak up the pressure, it's a 5. And then when you try and get forward, you try and turn it into a 4-3-3, whether that works against France. It's a tactic that could work, soak up pressure and then hit them through pace. But if it's that way, I'd probably rather see Malin on the left instead of Gakpo because I think he has more pace than Gakpo has. I think you really need to go fast and you need your fastest players out there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the changes he makes to that game, whether even Van de Ven comes in. Because up against Mbappe, you need that pace. But then, does he go with Ake and Van Dijk in defence? Probably not.
Tricky decisions. I think there's that bit of flexibility about it because of all the options. Midfielder is just so chosen now because of the injuries, and that will have to be it. And that could be concerning later in the tournament, not because we're missing Frenkie, but because they have to play a lot of minutes. Hopefully they'll have lots of subs in there, but I think we're going to see a lot of Wijnaldum now.
Well, we all knew that Frenkie was not going to start the first match, so luckily it's no surprise for the first match. You know, it's going to be without Frenkie, so I hope the team is ready for that now. Maybe this can build up from the first match to the next to the third. You know, yeah. So I think we'll be fine, as you said, Michael, in the beginning. It is still sad that we will be missing Frenkie and maybe Cook Miners, but I think we will be okay with this lineup and with these names we have, you know.
Okay, guys, is there anything else you want to talk about in tonight's show? Do you want to save it for Friday?
Save it for Friday, in my opinion, unless Mike has something.
No, I think that's it. You know, 2 good wins, positivity, try and take that into Poland and Austria. I think we'll save it for their previews, but they've looked good in these friendlies as well. So it's not just all Netherlands. France are the ones that probably look a bit shaky, but they're still France. But yeah, you couldn't really ask for more than what you got from these 2 games. 2 4-0 wins, no goals conceded, a variety of goal scorers. All the players got minutes, apart from a couple of injured ones. So I don't think you can really look back on these 2 games and have any real nitpicks for what Koeman's done. And even though he still gets a lot of criticism, I think Koeman's handled these 2 games very well.
Yeah, right. I think also many people are talking about getting 6 points only and qualifying as a second, but I seriously think we do have a chance to be first in the group if we play well against France, if we play in the right formation and the right lineup against France.
Okay. Abdul, Mike, thanks so much. And of course, everyone listening, whether you're listening live or whether you're not, get involved and just drop us a comment. What do you think of the performance? Will we miss Frenkie de Jong a lot? Let us know. See us on Friday, of course, for another show, a preview show of the Poland game. We'll be us again. Maybe we'll get the guest back on as well that came on the Group D preview. We'll see if Rowan wants to come back on, whether he's available. But if you enjoyed this show, give it a like right now. Give us a like. There are lots of you watching live. It'd be great to have all of your likes to help us grow. That's what it's for. If you know anyone else that likes Dutch football, wants an English-speaking podcast, do send this to them and give them this ahead of the Euros, a gift. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your kind comments. And that's all from us for now until Friday. If you want to go and watch some more there right now, go and find a tournament preview. Go and find our Group D preview. And lots more on the website. I imagine player ratings are on their way, Mike.
Yeah, I'll get them done now. So yeah, they'll be coming up later tonight.
Great. All right, we're going to end there then. See everyone soon.